from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratna.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the news. I'm Sharif Tahir. We take a look at the headlines now.
France expresses support for Sri Lanka's debt optimization program. Japan and Sri Lanka agree to immediately recommence implementation of stalled development projects. The government requests Aswasuma beneficiaries to open bank accounts for welfare payments. Today marks the completion of an year since the implementation of the quota system, which eliminated fuel queues. Sri Lankan cinnamon is highly valued in the world market. Millions of persons in camps in Syria affected by hot weather. The LPL cricket tournament begins tomorrow.
On to those and other stories in detail now. French President Emmanuel Macron made a historic visit to Sri Lanka yesterday, following his trip to the South Pacific region.
This visit marked the first time a French president had visited the country. During the visit, President Ranil Wickremesinghe and President Macron held friendly and productive bilateral discussions which lasted for more than an hour. The main objective was to enhance and elevate the existing relations between Sri Lanka and France, especially considering the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic ties being celebrated this year. President Wickremesinghe expressed admiration for France's significant role in global affairs, particularly in areas such as climate mitigation, global debt restructuring and matters related to the Indo-Pacific region. President Macron recalled his recent conversations with President Wickremesinghe in Paris, which took place during the summit for a new global financing pact. He reaffirmed France's willingness and commitment to supporting Sri Lanka in its economic recovery. As the fourth largest creditor to Sri Lanka, France pledged its assistance in the debt restructuring process, aiming for a positive outcome for the country. In a Twitter post following the discussions, President Macron stated, "Sri Lanka and France are two nations in the Indian Ocean sharing the same goal, an open, inclusive and prosper Indo-Pacific." He added that in Colombo they confirmed the strength of the 75 years of diplomatic relations and their commitment to opening a new era of partnership. The discussions between the two leaders focused on strengthening cooperation in various sectors, including politics, economics, tourism, climate change, sustainable development, and maritime activities. As part of the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two nations, several specific areas for further collaboration were identified. These areas of cooperation included the establishment of a school for maritime safety and security, the opening of a permanent office for the French Agency for Development in Sri Lanka, the initiation of high-level diplomatic dialogues, cooperation in the education sector, and the enhancement of efforts to combat human trafficking in the maritime safety and security sector. Additionally, both leaders exchanged views on topics of regional and multilateral interest in the current global context. President Macron expressed keen interest in collaborating with Sri Lanka during its upcoming chairmanship of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, of which France is a member. President Wickremesinghe praised President Macron's timely initiative in organizing the event held in Paris from the 22nd to the 23rd of last month, which he attended. He also conveyed Sri Lanka's agreement to join the Paris Agenda for the People and the Planet. The Japanese and Sri Lankan governments have agreed to resume the implementation of many development programs, including train projects which have been stalled.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has strongly appreciated the assistance being provided by Japan for Sri Lanka's debt restructuring program. He has made these observations during a two-day official tour of Japanese Foreign Minister Hayashi Yoshimasa in Sri Lanka. State Minister Taraka Balasuriya has warmly welcomed the Japanese Foreign Minister when he arrived at the Katunayake Bandaranayake International Airport last night. The visiting minister, Hayashi Yoshimasa, arrived in Sri Lanka yesterday for a two-day official visit. During his stay, he has engaged in discussions on bilateral relations with President Wickremesinghe, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and his Sri Lankan counterpart, Minister Ali Shabri. Foreign Minister of Japan Hayashi Yoshimasa paid a courtesy call on President Ranil Wickremesinghe in Colombo today. During the meeting, the two dignitaries engaged in discussions concerning the bilateral relationship between Japan and Sri Lanka, with a mutual commitment to further strengthen their traditionally robust ties. President Wickremesinghe expressed his gratitude to the Japanese government for their support in the debt restructuring process and shared details of French President Emmanuel Macron's offer, aiming to play a pivotal role in enhancing the common platform for debt restructuring and expediting the process. Another significant aspect of their talks revolved around key areas of cooperation, namely the light rail transit, the East Terminal, the Kandy Development Plan, Central Highway and the expansion of the Bandaranayake International Airport. Both parties expressed the importance of expediting the implementation of these projects.
Mr. Hayashi and I have had the opportunity to hold detailed bilateral discussion on a broad range of matters. The deep-rooted friendship between Japan and Sri Lanka has been further consolidated through the recent exchange of high-level visit. President Wickremesinghe visited Japan on two occasions in the recent past and held fruitful discussions. Prime Minister Kishida and also had the privileged audience with His Majesty the Emperor. We also had the pleasure of welcoming Honorable Takei Shunsuke, the State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan, in February 2023 for the celebration of the 75th anniversary of the independence of Sri Lanka. Minister Hayashi and I were pleased to recall the several events that we held in order to commemorate the 70 years of diplomatic relationship between Sri Lanka and Japan last year. Friends from the media, Sri Lanka is deeply appreciative of the solidarity and the significant assistance Japan has extended to Sri Lanka in the past year, when the country was going through an unprecedented economic crisis. We remain grateful to Japan for unwavering support and grant assistance extended to Sri Lanka during this challenging time, as well as for the Japan's confidence in Sri Lanka. During the recent negotiation with the IMF, Japan played an important supportive role in successful outcome of the discussion with the IMF and subsequently in facilitating the unique donor platform for our debt restructuring negotiations. On taking forward our bilateral cooperation, a number of important initiatives were discussed in the presence of His Excellency the President this morning, as well as during our bilateral discussion. Japan is a trusted partner, and with clear indicators of Sri Lanka's gradual economic recovery, both the President and I invited Japan to resume the Japanese investment project which are currently in the pipeline, and invited fresh investment from Japan in several sectors such as power, infrastructure, including port and highway sectors, dedicated investment zones, as well as the green and digital economy.
I had the privilege to pay a courtesy call on President Wickremesinghe, again following my previous opportunity back in May in Tokyo. I conveyed to him that his two visits to Japan within a year of his inauguration, really symbolizing the deepening bilateral relationship between our two countries. Subsequently, I had the pleasure to have in-depth discussion with Minister Sabli on ways to comprehensively strengthen our bilateral relationship. Sri Lanka is located at a strategic juncture along the sea lanes of Indian Ocean and is an important partner in realizing a free and open Indo-Pacific, or FOIP. At today's meeting, I explained about the new plan for the FOIP that Prime Minister Kishida announced in March this year, and stated that Japan attaches importance to cooperation with the Indian Ocean Rim Association, or IOLA, which Sri Lanka will chair from October. So I conveyed my expectation for further progress in the debt restructuring process and stressed the importance of a transparent and comparable debt restructuring that involves all creditor countries. I welcome Sri Lanka's effort under the IMF agreement, including its anti-corruption measures and transparency in the policy-making process. Concerning Sri Lanka's efforts on national reconciliation, I express Japan's intention to support Sri Lanka's effort. So it's the hope of Japan and myself that Sri Lanka will overcome the current crisis as soon as possible and bring itself back on track for further economic development, serving as a hub in this Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka has and will continue to have Japan's support in this endeavor.
Meanwhile, Japanese Foreign Minister has met Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at the Temple Trees this evening. On this occasion, a memorandum of understanding has been signed regarding the implementation of a scholarship program on human resources. Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideaki, and Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Mahinda Siriwardena, have signed the agreement. Under the program, Japan will provide scholarships to Sri Lankan government servants and intellectuals to pursue higher education in Japan. The Prime Minister on this occasion has recalled that the previous government has made an error by suspending the light rail transit project. He has requested Japan to conduct further discussions regarding recommencement of the project. The Presidential Media Division says that Japanese Foreign Minister has agreed to reconsider over recommencing the program as a state-private joint venture. The government requests Aswasuma beneficiaries to open their bank accounts to enable to directly credit funds to the accounts of the recipients without delay.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says that district and regional secretaries will assist to expedite the process of opening bank accounts. The Ministry of Finance says until the introduction of the new system, the provision of welfare benefits for senior citizens, kidney patients and persons with numerous disabilities will remain unchanged. The government therefore requests the recipients to immediately open bank accounts and inform the divisional secretariat divisions in this connection. All People's Bank branches in the Hambantota district remained open during normal office hours today, as well as in order to facilitate the opening of Aswasuma bank accounts. Issuance of letters for the opening of bank accounts for Aswasuma recipients in the Bandaragama Divisional Secretariat Division has taken place today as well. Accordingly, the documents were handed over to beneficiaries in 59 Grama Seva divisions. Sri Lanka cinnamon, better known as Ceylon cinnamon, is famous worldwide as a variety of cinnamon of extreme high quality.
As a result, the Sri Lankan produce is being much sought after overseas and fetches a high price in the foreign markets. It has become a value-added foreign exchange export crop. Sri Lankan cinnamon exporting bears a long history. It has been enriched with generations of expertise and technical know-how. The geographical location of Sri Lankan cinnamon cultivation has also contributed to the higher demand. Local cinnamon has a unique taste, smell and color. Cinnamon is being used as food, medicine, perfume and a beautification product, as well as a raw material for many industries throughout the world. Cinnamon is also being used as a natural flavor and a food preservative, as well as an important spice. Sri Lankan cinnamon is mainly exported to European countries. Sri Lanka's second largest exporter of cinnamon is Amila Sirivartana. He is a chemistry special graduate at the Peradeniya University and he entered the business field in the year 2010. He became the second leading exporter of cinnamon last year. He is reported to be buying cinnamon from 500 cultivators as well as from intermediaries. The value-added cinnamon exports include cinnamon oil, cinnamon powder and cinnamon tea. The enterprise has generated many direct and indirect employment opportunities at present. It was the Sri Lanka Export Development Board which has provided advice for the successful maintenance of the industry targeting foreign markets. Professionals in the industry point out that large amounts of foreign exchange could be earned if those planning to target the foreign market carry out the business as an export venture. A children's carnival jointly organized by the National Television and the Maliban Biscuit Company was conducted at the Samanala grounds in Galle, with the participation of large crowds throughout the day today.
The carnival was named as Maliban Real Chocolate Cream Biscuit Happy Land. It was comprised of educational and recreation aspects. Many competitions were held on behalf of children. The sponsors Maliban have presented valuable prizes to the winners. In parallel to this event, the Maliban Biscuits along with the National Television was engaged in an event to present prizes to the winners of arts and announcing competitions organized between 15 schools in the Galle and Mathura districts today. Drawing competitions were conducted under two categories for primary students. The final competition in the announcing competition for students in the grades 6, 7 and 8 was also held at the Samanala grounds today. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe and representatives of the Maliban Institute were among the large number of persons present at the event.
A group comprising of the chairman and members of the Human Rights Commission has met President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The President was enlightened on this occasion of the fact that the Human Rights Commission receives nearly 11,000 public complaints. The Commission has also pointed out that the shortage of staff has become a problem to carry forward the activities. The President has given an assurance to find speedy solutions to resolve the problem. He has also requested the Commission to immediately prepare a series of guidelines for government officials and the police. The President has pointed out that through such a measure it would become possible to minimize the receipt of complaints.
State Minister of Higher Education Dr. Suren Raghavan says that the decision of President Ranil Wickremesinghe regarding the 13th Amendment to the Constitution is a good signal for the future of the country. He has made these remarks attending a media briefing at the Presidential Media Centre under the theme All in One Path Towards a Stable Country. State Minister of Education Dr. Suresh Raghavan said that the President Ranil Wickremesinghe at this juncture is engaged in a not-so-popular act. The President's actions reflect his deep confidence on democracy. The President is doing the correct thing, although many dislike such acts. President is sternly of the view that the present-day problem should not be handed over to the next generation. Dr. Raghavan has recalled the fact of the President inquiring all party leaders whether they need the 13th Amendment. This has been a part of the Constitution for several decades. He has raised the issue on whether there is any meaning of spending around 300 billion rupees annually on maintaining provincial councils without any significant outcome. He has also pointed out the fact whether this is merely a weapon to generate bureaucrats. The southern politics does not appear to be accepting this notion of governance. He added that the President has stated that if there is no acceptance of the system, it is more appropriate to abolish the 13th Amendment by presenting an Act of Parliament. Dr. Raghavan further said the problem that has arisen in this connection was the disunity among Tamil elite classes and party leaders regarding the issue. The President's stance is very clear. The country has been postponing provincial council elections for 6.5 years. The country is always debating the issue and postponing the holding of the elections. Ambassador of the Russian Federation to Sri Lanka, Levan Zargarian, emphasizes that the two countries are focusing on many areas to enhance the bilateral relations. He made those comments participating on the Diplomatic Faces program of Rupavahini. Speaking of bilateral relations between Russia and Sri Lanka, we've shared a long-standing bilateral relationship between the two countries, and that encompasses a wide range of areas such as trade, we have defense, and also cultural exchanges. So, Your Excellency, can you tell us where do we stand now in terms of bilateral relationship?
We have established our bilateral relations, diplomatic relations in 1957. And since that, we had very good relations, very fruitful cooperation, former Soviet Union and Sri Lanka, and we continue our cooperation as much as possible. So we are a little bit limited right now for well-known reasons. But anyway, we try to keep on proper level. July 13 in Jakarta, two foreign ministers, Mr. Lavrov and Mr. Ali Sabri, met in the sidelines of international conferences in Indonesia. They discussed some issues regarding bilateral relations. Also, we highly appreciate Sri Lanka's foreign policy, your balanced policy, neutrality, which is very important for us. Sri Lanka is in the list of friendly countries, which is very important. The majority of the world, as we call it, global south, is our friends, including Sri Lanka. And we are ready to continue our cooperation, especially in the humanitarian field.
And Sri Lanka is an island which depends mostly on tourism. And what can be done in terms of, I understand that building cultural ties and exchanging the beautiful culture both countries have would be one form of attraction to bring in people to both countries. So what could be done in terms of attracting Russians to Sri Lanka?
You have done a lot, but also a lot of things can be done in future. In several interviews, my message was to Russian tourists, not only here, but also when I was speaking to Russian TV, please visit friendly countries, including Sri Lanka. Just a week ago, I went to Kutanayake airport and we, together with our Sri Lankan friends, first of all, Mr. Udayangi Viratunga, former ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Russian Federation, and local authorities, they were kind enough to organize a ceremony to welcome 100,000 Russian tourists who came to Sri Lanka.
That's a huge number.
Yes, huge number. And they are coming with Aeroflot flights twice a week now, and to Mattala also, and to Kutanayake airport. And hopefully we will increase the number of Russians to coming here. For our tourists, those who come to Sri Lanka, this island of paradise, and just have a race and beautiful impressions, and also very important for your budget.
Yeah. Exactly, that's important. That's key.
So I will do my utmost to facilitate, to urge Russians to come here, because there is everything. Very good food, a warm welcome, and very friendly atmosphere.
The full interview of Diplomatic Faces will be telecast at 8:20 p.m. tomorrow. Now on further news, according to the instructions of the Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, the Vavekale environmental system in the Sitavik tourist zone is to be developed as an urban ecological garden. The Prime Minister was engaged in an inspection tour in the area yesterday. The Vavekale environmental system is comprised of an extent of 28 acres of land near the Avisavella town. Presently, the area is covered in weeds. The aim is to fully modernize the area and to establish a center where all school children, university students as well as environmentalists are able to engage in their studies. The Prime Minister has also pointed out on this occasion that the environmental network has been identified as a water resource which could supply water to the town.
The Expo 2023 exhibition organized by the Faculty of Engineering of the Moratuwa University has ended today. It has commenced on the 27th this month. The annual exhibition is organized after a gap of 6 years. Various experiments of scholars in the discipline of engineering field are showcased at the exhibition. A novel feature that has attracted the attention of many visitors was the exhibition stall, which was demonstrated on the changes to be carried out in the government sector using latest technology. Large number of university scholars, school children, entrepreneurs, innovators, artists and the general public have visited the exhibition.
St. Joseph's College, Colonava, has set an example as a school which engages in fulfilling educational requirements of students of low-income families. The college engages in a program which is considered as an investment on behalf of the country. Children of many low-income families are pursuing studies at St. Joseph's College, Colonava. At the last day of every school term, the school engages in a program to provide clothes, shoes, bags and water bottles to the students free of charge. Funds are being collected in this regard from government institutions and philanthropists. Special feature of this program is the ability of the students to select items according to their choice, not only for themselves but also for the members of their families. The program is being conducted annually with the enhancing of the attitudes of the students. The assistance of the Colonava Urban Council and the Divisional Secretariat Division Office is being sought in the program.
Japanese Foreign Minister says that he expects Sri Lanka will overcome the current crisis as soon as possible and bringing itself back on track for further economic development, serving as a hub in the Indian Ocean. He made these remarks when he met his counterpart, Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri, today.
On President Wickramasinghe, again following my previous opportunity back in May in Tokyo, I conveyed to him that his two visits to Japan within a year of his inauguration really symbolizing the deepening bilateral relationship between our two countries. Subsequently, I had the pleasure to have in-depth discussion with Minister Sabri on ways to comprehensively strengthen our bilateral relationship. Sri Lanka is located at a strategic juncture along the sea lanes of Indian Ocean and is an important partner in realizing a free and open Indo-Pacific, or FOIP. At today's meeting, I explained about the new plan for the FOIP that Prime Minister Kishida announced in March this year and stated that Japan attaches importance to cooperation with the Indian Ocean Rim Association, or IORA, which Sri Lanka will chair from October. So I conveyed my expectation for further progress in the debt restructuring process and stressed the importance of a transparent and comparable debt restructuring that involves all creditor countries. I welcome Sri Lanka's effort under the IMF agreement, including its anti-corruption measures and transparency in the policy-making process. Concerning Sri Lanka's efforts on national reconciliation, I express Japan's intention to support Sri Lanka's effort. So it's the hope of Japan and myself that Sri Lanka will overcome the current crisis as soon as possible and bring itself back on track for further economic development, serving as a hub in this Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka has and will continue to have Japan's support in this endeavor.
வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து பணத்தை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பி வாராந்தம் 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாய், ஆண்டிறுதியில் மாபெரும் சீட்டெழுப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாயினை வெல்லுங்கள். பீப்பிள்ஸ் ரெமிட்டன்ஸ் கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம். நேரடியாக அனுப்புங்கள், பெரும் வெற்றி காணுங்கள்.
Welcome back. We move on to news overseas now. Temperatures are soaring worldwide, reaching scorching levels, with the Middle East and North Africa, known as MENA region, far from spared. Temperatures in some parts of the MENA region are currently the highest in the world, with several countries breaking records, prompting the World Meteorological Organization to issue a warning. A severe heat wave is sweeping through the northwestern regions of Syria, home to approximately 6 million people, over half of whom are displaced and living in semi-dilapidated tents, exacerbating their suffering. According to weather forecasts, temperatures surpassed 40 degrees Celsius in inland areas and Idlib and Aleppo countryside on Thursday evening, with the possibility of exceeding 42 degrees Celsius today and tomorrow.
Prima, cut to me, Fantamai!
Welcome back, and we move on to sports news now. The fourth stage of the Lanka Premier League cricket tournament will get underway tomorrow. The first match will be played between Jaffna Kings and Colombo Strikers.
Several strong local and foreign players representing 5 teams will compete in the tournament, which takes place from tomorrow till the 20th of next month. The participating teams as Jaffna Kings, Colombo Strikers, Damulla Ora, B Love Candy and Gaul Titans. All matches are to be played in the R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo and the Pallekali Stadium in Kandy. The Jaffna Kings team has won the tournament on the 3 times conducted so far. The first match is scheduled to commence at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. And that's a wrap of the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.